Hello, welcome to Great Minds Tutorials. This is your favorite tutor, Hadiso. And just a reminder for those of you who are tuning in for episode number 11, is that episode number 9 and episode number 10 have been combined on one video. Why? Because the concepts, they link closely to each other. They're like a belt and a trouser. You cannot separate them. You need to implement them at the same time, but it's the same video. It's just gonna play twice, so it's much better because if you have watched the previous episode, you're just gonna repeat it. But it explains both concepts. So I'm just trying to file my series into episodes so that we can know that what each and every episode is dealing with. Okay. Now, so that if you want information, there's no need for you to watch a full 2 hours video. You can just quickly go to the concept which is being touched. You're fine. You move on. So now I'm gonna deal with something in this episode, which is episode number 11 of object-oriented programming. Is that we're gonna deal with what we call encapsulation, something that we've been doing all along. So I just want us to look at the theory. Encapsulation in Java meaning. Okay, so encapsulation in Java meaning encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up of data under a single unit. Okay, that is not explanatory. Okay, but it explains it as that. So encapsulation is defined as wrapping up data under a single unit. Is the mechanism that binds together the code and the data it manipulates. But okay, in terms of, let me bring it into simple terms. Encapsulation is what we've been doing all along. So I'm gonna show you with a simple project as is if we were to get here, let's try and do this. Okay, let's create another app. Let's say this is the shape app. As a project name. Okay, so wait for it to create it. Okay, now we're having a shape app. So inside here, we're gonna create the new Java class, which is gonna be our shape. And then here we're gonna go with com.great minds coding ZA the www. So okay, we're gonna finish that. And then in here, what we're gonna be doing is that we're going to then say we're gonna give this attribute. So remember, in Java programming, every class has to have an attribute or some specific behavior, or every object, to put it in proper terms. Every object is got a behavior, something like something of its characteristics. What is it able to, what does it have? What is tagged onto it? Whenever you are having a phone has got a brand name, whether it's Samsung or iPhone or whatever brand it is, it's got a color. What is your color of your phone? It's got a network it's using in whatever country that you're in. All of those kind of stuff. But a phone is an object. A student is an object. A student is got a name, a student is got a surname, a student is got an age, and so on and so on. So it gets to a point where we've been doing this all along. So when we say private, we say string. Let's say now we have the name of the shape. Private. We have double with the volume of the shape. Volume. Private double. We have the area of the shape. We have the color. depending on which country you're in, you're gonna spell it as, yeah, depending on wherever you are. So now we have been dealing with constructors. So we have a default construct. I'm gonna get to the encapsulation part. So now when you get here, you're gonna create a constructor, which is default. Even if you leave it empty, it's fine, it's up to you. Okay, now you're going to have a parameterized constructor, the one that is going to be used to initialize the class. Now, here is where encapsulation comes. So now the encapsulation is just the process of how you, from your main class, you're going to be sending and receiving data. So encapsulation, as you hear from the word, it speaks about some capsule, or encapsulation speaks about you, some kind of like protection of data or support. So for you to send data in between your backend class and your main class, you're gonna need some specific method in order for you to send the data. So this is where the two types of methods, which is your mutator and accessor method, in simple terms, getter and setter method. So the getter is the accessor and the mutator is the setter. So you can set specific values using method. So there is a way you can do it. You can either come here. Let's see if this is going to allow us to do it. So we can say, okay, we're gonna have okay, let's say we're gonna have our shape, a new shape, new shape, and we're just gonna have it like that. Okay, that's fine. Let us import here. We've imported it. So now let's try this method, which is very simple. If you say shape dot, okay, now this is where privatizing and publicizing comes into play. Let's say we didn't privatize this, we have made it public. So I'm gonna come back to how we have been doing encapsulation all along. Let's publicize it here, but this is not good programming practice. Then I'm gonna expand on what is good programming practice. Let's come back here. This should be able to then now get the name. So you can get the name and then you can just assign the shape name in the second. You see, now I'm sending data to what? I'm sending data to the, I'm sending data to the, I'm actually sending data to the, what is it? I'm sending data to the backend class, which is shape. I've just stored the name, which is the second. And if I want to do the second one, I write the name of the object dot color. Let's say the color of it is green. And the rest of the other ones, I'll leave them the way that they are. So let's say we only wanted to deal with this. So this is another way that you can send data in between your front-end class and your back-end class. So now, here's where it becomes a little bit of a problem. So let's just say system.out.println here. So you can then say name. Okay, we need to say shape dot name. Okay, and then system.out.println. We can say shape dot color. There we go. And when you run this, there you can tell it says that it's a second, and it also tells us that it's also green in color, as you can see. So now, but this is not good programming practice in order for you to do it this way. So this is what we have been doing all along. Then we introduce what we call encapsulation. So encapsulation comes with you introducing getters methods and setters methods. So I have a shortcut. Now I do it. You can do it manually, but here is how it goes, is that you can have a public, you have a string. That is to get the name. So it's going to return a string. And you can see public void for your set. So you set the name, you can give it a parameter, which is your name. So those are all the getters and setters methods based on those fields that we are having up here, or attributes, based on this field or attributes. So now when you go to the main, instead of us using this, we're using what we call encapsulation. So we then going to then say, no, okay, in order for us, we can say shape dot set. So we can set the name, and then inside there, we can give it a name. We can set it as green. Oh, no, circle. And we can say shape dot set color. And we can give it the color green. Okay, this is because I've spelled it wrong here. And then now to display them, then you can say shape dot, use the getters method. Then you can get the color. It's fine even if you do it like that. And then you can get the name. So I'm still doing the very same thing, but now I'm doing it properly. But then another thing, doing it proper, always privatize here. There's no need for us to use that method. So we need to privatize here. We need to privatize. Hence, I will always privatize here. Is so that these variables which are in the backend class cannot be accessed anywhere else other than the backend class. Encapsulation, that's why it comes into play. So now you'll see if I say, remember before when I said shape dot, I could get name. Now I'm no longer able to get it. Why? Because I privatized it on that side. It's no longer publicized. So it's because I've changed the public to private. Yeah. Then now this should be able to do the very same thing. It should be able to tell us green and circle. And there you have it. It's still able to give us the information. So that is what encapsulation is all about. Encapsulation is the process of you sending data from your front end class to your backend class, and also you accessing your data from your backend class and displaying it, which is done like that. So that is where we start introducing what we call setters and getters methods. Why? Because we don't want to write shape.name every time. We just want to use that specific method in order for us to get that. So that process that we've been doing all along, which is the getters and setters method, this is the part where encapsulation comes into play. And that is it from us for this episode. And in our next episode, we're going to be doing episode number 12, which is advanced object-oriented programming. And we are not far from actually getting to the introduction of advanced object-oriented programming. And that is it for me for today. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and also comment on our videos. Cheers.